A new lore drop has given us new clues into what our next tank hero is going to play like, or at least what some of their abilities are going to be about. Now, I'm going to dive into that very quickly, but before I do that, I want to talk about the other lore drop that happened yesterday as well. This is just a little message that is written from Efi from Watchpoint Gibraltar to her parents. It's cute. I'm not going to read the thing, but basically what we can get out of this is that not only have Efi and Orisa both joined Overwatch, but apparently Juno has as well. Which I don't think we had ever gotten confirmation that Juno officially joined Overwatch either. So there are 2 new members of Overwatch officially in the lore, and you can read this technically on Numbani itself in the cafe. Right here, right by the attacker's spawn. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is Efi's tablet because she likes Lucio, as we know. And that is Lucio's record right there, right next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is her doing, and she left it here, in the lore. But yeah, that's it. That's a very small one. You should read it yourself. It's kind of cute, if you care about that. But let's talk about the big juicy one here, which is the field report, the native vanadium. I don't know how they're going to want to pronounce that, cache. So I'm not going to read this whole thing for you, but it has to do with this spherical spiky orb thing that is in the Oasis spawn room that for the, what's it called? This season is broken. And this is what the spawn room looks like now. And we'll come back to this in just a second, but the orb is gone. There's splatters. You can see like the trail of it going outside and everything. But basically what this is all about, this paragraph is the field report itself. They found this new unidentified isotope in Petra. The Wayfinders did. Wayfinders are the group that Venture belongs to. They're like the archaeologists. And they have found this isotope that is, it's like behaving like it is under like research, like it's man-made behavior, but it's found in this site in the ground, right? So they have given it over to the Oasis Ministries, the scientists at Oasis, where Moira works, and it's supposed to be going to the geology unit, but the lead of the geology unit is out, so they can't house it yet. So instead, the genetics unit has very graciously offered to hold it temporarily, and Moira is the leader of the genetics unit. So in the next email here, so this is now there's an email chain before the Anya, who is the leader of the geologist department, and of course Moira, who is the geneticist. This is Anya basically saying, thank you so much for the holding of the material, and all the research that you've done on it already has shown a lot of stuff, but basically saying we're well past our due date or start date of our schedule for researching this. You need to give it to us. So Moira and the geneticists have been holding this thing for months and not giving it over to the geology unit. And of course, we know Moira, she is a little, self-motivated, I think is a good way to put it. So Moira basically says, I'm not giving it to you. We are still working on it. When we are done with our research, then we will contact you. She doesn't even say that we'll give it back. She just says, I'll talk to you again. Then, of course, Anya goes, in very businessy, like professional, thank you, but we need this now, right? It is completely unique. It is something that we need to study, and the geology unit needs to have this. So on behalf of everybody in the ministry, they need to have it now. Moira responds with, nope, we're not giving it back. In fact, we're calling it its permanent home. We are going to be using this. And Moira has found out that they have been able to stabilize it and create military application prototypes, part of which being ammunition for munitions, as well as enhance human strength has proven unmatched. The ability to enhance human strength has proven unmatched. So not only does this have military use, but it also has some genetics use as well. And if we know Moira, she loves experimenting on people. So she basically says they've been in contact with Helix. Helix is a client of the Ministries, and she thinks that Helix will want to have this technology because it is, what's it called? It is military in nature. So in order to continue her experiments and her efforts, she's kind of trying to put this into being so that, like, I would assume, reading between the lines here, the funding from Helix will mean that there's no way Moira is going to be able to give it up, because it'll just be too lucrative of an experiment. Because as we know, military weapons sell, war sells, right? But there's also one more thing that I'm kind of reading between the lines here, and that has to relate to this image. Of course, we're going to go back to the spawn room, and this is where we're going to talk about what is possibly going on with this new character. That Moira likes experimenting on people. And if anything has been taught to us about the writings on the wall, and they're like, free the freaks or whatever, and like take down the Oasis, they have definitely been experimenting on people at the Ministries. And I would assume that Moira's experiments and research was all unethical human trials. So the revolution that this new faction, the freaks, are probably bringing up are the people who are experimented on. As we know, it sounds like there is genetic, ability enhancement. I would assume that our new tank hero was experimented on and is some sort of super soldier or prototype super soldier, where either the experiment went wrong or they just broke out with their newfound power from this thing. So I don't know if this hero is going to have anything to do with like the black goo. Maybe they'll be kind of like amorphous and then become solid in some ways. I doubt it. But I think in general, the crystals are the really big thing here. I think right now my head is at, like, if it can be used as ammunition, that the crystals will be what this person is shooting. And in fact, it might not even be a gun per se. They may actually be shooting it out of their body, right? They may actually be creating these crystals from their body. Maybe spraying it like Lifeweaver does with his thorns. Maybe it's part of their ability kit, right? Maybe they sprout, a crystal out of the ground. Maybe like kind of like a May pillar that does damage, maybe area of effect type deal. Could be anything like that. I think the most likely is that it will be attached to the primary or secondary fire. But the other thing to note is that a lot of the freaks symbols have different types of animal imagery, which, there's a possibility here that the freaks are not human. They were not human to begin with. In fact, the experimental trials maybe made them more humanoid. Maybe they aren't even humanoid at all, right? Maybe they literally are just animals that have become sentient and now super powerful. I think that's a little less likely. I kind of just assume that these are just monikers. But I think that is also a part of it. It could be kind of like the Chimera character, half human, half animal type, Abomination, right? That could be a really interesting angle as well. Unfortunately, I don't think there is like that much to go off of. We're just kind of in speculation territory. But I think it's November 22nd, they said, whenever they're announcing it at OWCS Stockholm, is when our first trailer is going to happen. And I would assume the first trial will kind of launch with it, or it will launch very close to when we get to hear about this. And I will definitely be covering that in extensive detail when that comes out. But for right now, please, if you like this, subscribe to the channel. But I do want to hear what you guys think about this. What are your wild theories, right? Like, what do you think this character is going to do? What do you think their game plan is going to do? Like, I would prefer that we have some sort of dive tank. I would love to see that. But just with what we have here, I really have no idea. This could go any way. about how this character is designed. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about that, and like the video while you're at it. This was streamed live, twitch.tv/Lane Hemingway. That's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays is when I'm live. There's always something to discuss with me live if you tune in then. And please join my Discord down below, talking all things Overwatch in there. Little community going on as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please have a good day.